going green forward. They started with the end in mind. In this case, this project was community revitalization. This is the Green Revival Initiative, restoring the green, putting green back in the pockets of Arizonans. Its goal was to provide 1,000 low-income and fixed-income households with $300 to $500 a year in energy savings. That's pretty straightforward and pretty easy, actually, and maybe I could use $500. That's literally 2 months of free power. It had a second goal, and it was to introduce middle-income folks on what they can also do to do exactly the same thing, because everyone can use these resources. And what this project does is that it provides these low-income homes with a sustainability starter kit, 21 CFL light bulbs, 2 low-flow shower heads. Now we know what those do. The CFL light bulbs, 75% less energy in cost. The low-flow shower heads, they use a lot less water, and it costs money to provide the water and to use the water. That saves a household around $70 a year. A kitchen thermometer. What the heck is a kitchen thermometer doing in here? This allows people to turn down the temperature on their water heaters. At 140 degrees is more than you need. You need 120. Turning it down those 20 degrees saves $30 to $50 a year, perhaps even more. And a tire gauge. Yes, filling up your tires does work, and gasoline costs money. And so all in all, this $50 worth of materials will save an individual household around $500 a year. That's a 10-to-1 return on investment. That's huge. We've even done it as a test to make sure it works. Proof of concept home between 24th Street and 16th Street on Southern Avenue. We installed the shower heads. You can see the dramatic difference in the amount of water that they use. Now, I installed these things in my own home, and they work quite well. You got to get used to them. You don't have all the water you're used to, but once you're used to them, they work great, and they're enjoyable, and they save you money, and I love it. Most importantly, they are enjoyable because you don't notice the money until you actually pay for it, but these things are nice to take showers under. The outcomes. Stabilizing households. Again, this is a community revitalization project. That's the goal here. Stabilizing households, 2 months of free power, and that money doesn't stay in their pocket. That money goes back into the community. That's $500,000 a year back into the local community, which builds jobs and everything else. As far as it puts money in folks' pockets. Money for diapers, money for school books that they would normally have to pay to give to the power company. 5 million pounds of carbon dioxide not released into the atmosphere. 75 million gallons over that 1,000 households of water not wasted. Because we have limited water, our most important natural resource. And we have some great partners in this project. Southwest Gas, ASU, Brother Love Productions, that I'll get to him in a moment. Southminster Social Service is our fiscal agent. The City of Phoenix, 3 different departments, neighborhood services, human services, and environmental services. Southwest Green, that is us, and the Minority Business Enterprise Center. And through Brother Love Productions, we had an opportunity to do a great thing called Green Jazz at the Herberger. Green Jazz at the Herberger was an outreach program to bring in money for this program, but also to enlighten a new population as to the power of sustainability, how they could harness this for themselves and make use of these resources, how they could go green forward, start at the beginning and learn the things they wanted to do. Because when you start at the beginning, you can go back and look at all the green tools that we have and say, I can use this to accomplish what I want to do. Therefore, you're no longer caught in analysis paralysis. You have a better idea where to go. Because when's the last time that any of you took a trip and didn't know where you were going? When you turn that around, then you can decide, I want to go by train, plane, or automobile. It suddenly becomes clear, and you know what you're trying to accomplish. Another great case study. Again, this program, forgot one thing. The thing that we do with the Green Revival program, any household can do. Any household can spend that $50 and get those green changes. And one more thing you can do is that once you understand how these simple things work, you can ask the question, what else can I do to help meet my family's goals? And that opens a whole new world as far as other things that you can do to become more green, because you know the goal now is to serve your family, and you know that green is the way for you to do it. Keys Community Center at 2454 East Broadway. It is a program focusing on community revitalization. Now, the director, Debbie Chapman, has what's called an ABCD way of doing things, asset-based community development. That means that in her community, there are tremendous assets everywhere to help meet the goal of her facility, which is to benefit the community. So she went out and she talked to her community, and she found out where those assets were. She asked folks what were their loves, what were the things they liked to do, what was their history, and she found out that no matter what the race, ethnicity, nation, language, they all had one thing in common, and that was gardening. And so she started across South Phoenix a series of community gardens, working with Home Depot and a number of other organizations. And you know what occurred? It was amazing. To plant a garden, you had to clean up a vacant lot. That's called beautification. The ABCD approach, she got now knowledge, an asset map of what the assets were throughout her community. People talking to each other, that's called communication. When people talk, safety improves. When they were learning to garden, that's called education. They now had fresh, clean food, nutrition, and health. They had enough crops to begin to sell the crops, entrepreneurship, and economic development. And when they celebrated what they had done, it built a sense of pride in the neighborhood. And when people have pride in their neighborhoods, they want to take care of their neighborhoods. All of this from a green project. You see, when you know where you're going, you begin to get great results, because you can pick what you want to do that's green and use the green to get where you want to go. And so, now I haven't heard any amens yet, so I guess I haven't gotten too enthusiastic. But a multicultural neighborhood brought together and revitalized, and green was the way that it was done. So at the end, I timed this for about 18 minutes. It all comes back to you. Remember Grandma's 6 rules. Go green forwards. Begin with the end in mind. I told you about repetition. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. After all, with take, make, waste, when you waste, you end up throwing it in somebody else's front lawns. And you don't want that to be done to you, and neither do they. In the economics, we call that an externality. What you do that costs me money. Make the most of what you got. Do no harm. And always seek to make things better and do more with less. The next step is to just do it. Don't get caught in analysis paralysis, because action brings clarity. Get started, and as you do things, it'll become more clear, because you know what you're trying to accomplish, and you can now get started. And as you get started, it'll become more clear on how to go forward. And finally, as you plan to go green, don't forget you can use green to plan. I had the pleasure of having an op-ed in the Arizona Republic recently, and it referred to that particular thing. Green is one of the 5 most important issues driving Phoenix into the future, but people don't know where to start. Well, green is a planning tool. Now that we know that green does all of these things, we can use it as a tool with the goal of creating a better city. And the cool thing about it is that if you green your process, you tend to green the result. So to green the process of creating a great Phoenix, you tend to create the green Phoenix that our mayor would like to see. So go green forwards, and I thank you very much.